Today's battle is between the Skullcrawler and Gorosaurus. Let's get into this. Skullcrawlers are from Skull Island, so they face off against Kong, Yeah. Anyways, they can be up to 100 feet tall, weigh up to 100 tons, and they're 194 feet long. Now, Gorosaurus. Gorosaurus can weigh up to around, yeah. Gorosaurus can weigh up to 20,000 tons. Yeah, oh, yeah, can be up to around 328 feet long and can be up to around 116 feet tall. Giant lizard versus giant Allosaurus. Fight. Oh wait, no. Abilities. The Skullcrawler's weapons is its claws, jaws, tail slap, tail grab, because it can grab with its tail. It can burrow underground, and the fact that the Skullcrawler can use its mouth to grab opponents and prey items. Now, Gorosaurus. Gorosaurus' weapons is his jaws, claws, tail slap, the ability to burrow underground. It also has a spike. Gorosaurus also has a spike on the end of his tail, so you can use that to stab, too. You can also do kangaroo kick, where you can, kick it like a kangaroo, use his tail for balance and kick. Yeah, it's a very devastating attack, and when he used it on King Ghidorah, it broke his spine. Yeah. Okay. Fight. Also, yeah, Gorosaurus is a good guy. Apparently, he's one of Godzilla's friends. Yeah. Okay. Fight. Gorosaurus is just eating a freaking buffalo, a giant buffalo called a skur buffalo. Yeah. Yes, those things exist on Kong Skull Island. On Skull Island. Kong! Okay, and then the Skullcrawler comes out of nowhere trying to steal his kill. Now, Gorosaurus is usually pretty docile when there's no enemies around, so he goes all-out rage mode on him. The Skullcrawler steals his kill, and then Gorosaurus jumps and lands on the Skullcrawler's back. The Skullcrawler whips him in the eye, and it escapes. Gorosaurus then freaking Velociraptor pounces on the Skullcrawler and starts biting his legs and everything. The Skullcrawler bites the throat of the Gorosaurus, but Gorosaurus slashes his throat too. It's a tussle between two reptilian assholes. Two reptilians. Yeah. The Skullcrawler then bites the Gorosaurus' tail, but that's a bad idea since Gorosaurus has a spike on the end of the tail. So he uses that spike to jab him right in the throat. The Skullcrawler pukes a little blood and then escapes and burrows underground. Little did this scaly reptile know that this dinosaur can also dig underground too. So he does that, and after a loud tussle underground, Gorosaurus is seen appearing with a Skullcrawler in his mouth, just shaking him around and throwing him. The Skullcrawler is freaking struggling, scratching his underbelly and everything. Gorosaurus is obviously bigger and stronger, so he just yeets the freaking Skullcrawler, making him tumble through some rocks and trees, and even through an entire forest. Gorosaurus sprints towards the giant reptilian. The giant reptile then tail slaps Gorosaurus and then constricts him with his tail. Gorosaurus can't fight back since he's at an awkward angle. The Skullcrawler then pounces on Gorosaurus and bites at his neck. Bites at his face, I meant. Gorosaurus claws deeply into the Skullcrawler's eyes, and then that makes him let go. The Gorosaurus then headbutts the giant reptile, making him go away. The Skullcrawler is on top of a freaking mountain, trying to pounce him. And then the giant Skullcrawler jumps. Gorosaurus goes all out Ultra Instinct. And Kangaroo kicks him mid-air. Brayton. Yeah. The Skullcrawler pukes up blood. That impact made the Skullcrawler's lungs explode, basically. Broke his lung cage, rib cages, everything. Even his own spine. The Skullcrawler's literally choking on its own blood right now. Gorosaurus takes a little step further. Bites onto the skull of the Skullcrawler. And kills him. Gorosaurus roars in victory before just devouring this giant reptile. Verdict. In a fight between Gorosaurus and the Skullcrawler, Gorosaurus wins around like 86% of the time. No, actually 84% of the time. Why? Because the Skullcrawler is a very formidable opponent, and he's a lot more agile than Gorosaurus. But Gorosaurus is just a lot stronger and heavier, and can dish out a lot more attacks. So in the end, Gorosaurus wins this. But who do you think would have won this fight? Let me know in the comments down below. I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.